Good morning, everyone. Welcome to VM Updates interactive session on IIoT, the new normal for MSMEs. MSMEs are the growth accelerators of the Indian economy, contributing about 30% of the country's GDP. However, MSMEs in the manufacturing domain in India face several challenges of speed, quality, flexibility, efficiency, and productivity. To achieve end-to-end integration of their data, industrial enterprises are taking steps of connecting their assets to the digital world. Open cloud-based industrial Internet of Things, or popularly known as IIoT platforms, are fast emerging as game changers in this context. So in next 1.5 hours, you are going to witness an engaging interactive session on IIoT, the new normal for MSMEs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to today's distinguished speakers. Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharti of S Micromatic Manufacturing Intelligence Technologies Private Limited, Mr. Ravi Kumar V. Tadpalli of Krisam Automation, Mr. Gajendra Mohan Jha of Bosch, Mr. Ninad Deshpande of B&R Industrial Automation, and Mr. Yogin Chaniara of MTMA Rajkot. So delegates, sit back and get ready to witness a thought-provoking session. To take this session forward, I would like to invite Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharti. Mr. Chandrasekhar is the founder and managing director of S Micromatic Manufacturing Intelligence Technologies Private Limited, popularly known as AMIT, a pioneer in Industry 4.0 and IIoT products. The company is part of S Micromatic Group, one of India's largest manufacturer of CNC machines. He serves as director of the board at IMTMA, member of CII's Manufacturing Committee and CII Smart Manufacturing Council. So to get the ball rolling, we would invite Mr. Chandrasekhar to talk on how smart machines and IIoT are redefining manufacturing space. Welcome, Mr. Chandrasekhar.
ACE Micromatic is India's largest manufacturer of precision CNC machines, as well as we were the first mover in India to offer what is today being called smart machines or Industry 4.0 to our customers almost 12 years ago. And when we did that, we did it with the perspective of what our customers' pains were. If we look at our own customer profile, half our customers are MSMEs, where they could be as small as having a few machines in a garage. It could be an owner-driven company where they may have 20, 30, 40, 50 machines and starting to potentially professionalize themselves as they go beyond that point. Incidentally, in our own group, we have an ecosystem of part manufacturing companies where we manufacture right from a batch size of one. For example, PSLV rocket parts, one of our companies does that, and items of that nature, all the way to large volume. So when we started introducing these technologies, we found that the common denominator of all these companies was a very, very, very low utilization ratio of the machining capacity. And a lot of that had to do with certain assumptions that were made, which would reduce the benchmark itself to a quote unquote manageable level. And a lot of it also had to deal with the inability to measure what was truly happening at per a minute and potentially across the three shifts. So we started to provide automated data collection hardware and software, which would profile out all the 24 hours and even inside a part production, what is really happening. And those outputs have given such an insight to ourselves and our customers where truly people that use that well now, they've had a absolute doubling of their throughput and efficiency. So if they were at 30, 40%, they're probably at 70% today. So this has been the impact of IIoT to the MSME space. And it is starting to evolve into other use cases beyond only looking at a time series data and then starting to look at how to optimize the machine capacity utilization.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Gajendra Mohan Jha to take this discussion forward. Mr. Gajendra is an active member of the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association of India, that is ACMA, and contributes to the digital initiatives of ACMA. He is building an IoT business venture for Bosch, named as Phantom Solution, an IoT solution with multiple use cases across industrial manufacturing, SMEs, retail, and residential. Today, while representing ACMA, Mr. Gajendra will talk on how IoT can give an edge to the Indian automotive component manufacturers. So let's welcome Mr. Gajendra Mohan Jha.
I think one of the most important thing that has definitely come across during these time is how technology could make our lives a bit more simpler, especially when we talk about industrial manufacturing SMEs. And while and before pre-COVID and post-COVID, one of the key areas where we see a lot of focus, or at least a lot of conversation that is happening or gaining momentum, is around this industrial IoT. Let's slice it a bit and understand why. This is going to be a game changer, or this is going to be of help, because for every SME, like you rightly pointed out, while there are so many other challenges, how does this technology help them meet the problem statements, like you said, speed, agility, on productivity, efficiency? Uh, One of the core important element that we have seen through our journey of even providing services and solutions to large enterprises and SMEs, and building this IIoT, is the ability to understand and translate the use of technology to meet business needs, right? So we typically start from technology like IIoT and then figure out whether it will be applicable in my context or business or not, right? I think let's do a bit differently here in case of how we are looking at post-COVID times or during the times. I think one of the most important element that has to be understood is that there is first a business need. Yeah? The business need, like you pointed out, is on productivity, is on efficiency, is on having more access to the markets that you want to cater to, on speed, agility, flexibility. Now, if MSMEs were to adapt to all of this with the existing resources that they have, can they actually non-linearly grow there, or will they hit a bottleneck if they were to use their existing resources to meet these needs? And I think that is where IIoT or IoT starts playing a role, wherein they would just want to use these technology and help them expand their goals towards efficiency, towards productivity, as well as towards enabling themselves to have access to larger markets. And if I were to be very specific and take one example to elaborate what I say, let's talk about productivity. I mean, 60 to 70% of the investment that SME today is making in India is around machinery. And till now, we have had most of the data that is collected on OEE, which just as an indication of your asset productivity or asset utilization, is predominantly manual. Yeah. And while when it is manual, you are relying on your operators, your supervisors to understand and do this analysis on how your OE improvement has happened. So there are two challenges there. One, the errors that can come when you are trying to manage something like that. And second, I think the challenge is when you want to do a kind of review of your historical data. As simple as that, right? How do you benchmark and move forward towards your productivity? Do you even know what is causing that loss of productivity? And that is where I think a lot of asset tools and IoT based applications are making life much simpler, right? For an example, you introduced me to that topic on Phantom. What we are trying to do is provide a very simple solution wherein you can connect even your legacy machines which don't have access and get access to your productivity information. Now, that's a very simple use. If you expand it to multiple different areas where SME can today play, you know that this is going to be a kind of non-linear growth opportunity that SMEs get with the use of technology, which has been well leveraged and documented by large enterprises. So it is not an uncharted territory. There is nothing to be afraid of when it comes to adoption of technology. It is just like putting it in the right context and going through that change transformation to see how this technology is helping my business goals. Yeah.
Mr. Tushar Mandle is asking that can you give an example of any manufacturing unit where you have supplied your products and you have seen 70% growth in production efficiency?
The perspective that I shared earlier was that we have seen enterprises or companies go from 30-40% true utilization to as high as 70 or 80% true utilization. Now, there are multiple components of OE, as you know. One is the availability of the machine. The second is the performance efficiency when it is producing. The third is the quality efficiency. What we have seen is in many companies in Peenya, Bangalore, for example, who have about 15, 20 machines, 30 machines, we have seen their ability to produce go up to almost double what they used to be able to produce in one shift. And these are real live examples. And a lot of it has to do with when you look at the typical TPM methodology. Yes, people are familiar with TPM, there are 16 different loss categories. But what really happens is machines stop for the most mundane of reasons, which get taken as this is how we do business. You know, I need to go get a tool. I need to go get a tool. I need to, get a drawing. I need to get a drawing. But all the while, the machine which has the ability to produce is actually stopped. That's one. The second is we've seen that in many cases, the cycle time of production is typically set because of some legacy reason. I had done it this way, so I believe I should be able to produce, let's say, 16 1 hour, say 1 minute cycle time. But in reality, that may be a very unoptimized benchmark. And when you start to see the profile of production, even if you see that you're able to produce 10% of those parts at a much lower cycle time, and you go into the root cause of that, and then apply that horizontally, suddenly it unlocks the ability for you to produce hundreds of thousands at the same efficiency as those few which otherwise could not be produced. The third perspective I'd like to share is typically when part production occurs, there will be certain conditions that happen. Let's assume that the part was programmed for using a right-hand tool. And again, people in manufacturing would know what I'm talking about. But that day, the right-hand tool was not available. So what potentially somebody does is you reprogram it for using a left-hand tool with maybe reduced feed speeds. And that runs like that for quite some time. Or maybe there is an issue with tooling. So you've reduced the RPM or you've reduced the feed rate or the depth of cut, and that stays as a legacy for quite some time. So studying these things, a lot of optimizations can be done, both in terms of making sure that you have additional machine capacity in terms of just number of hours and minutes available. And while producing, you start to optimize the cycle level performance itself. So the short answer to your question is, it's not just one customer. We have seen literally, we have more than 15,000 installations now. And we have seen without a doubt in the first, as early as a few weeks, customers can start to see a huge difference in how they would improve their overall throughputs.
So by now, we came to know that how IIoT as an enabler for digital transformation can create value for organizations. However, in India, we are always concerned about kitna deta hai. In this context, that means how much is the investment and what is the payback period for IIoT deployment. To talk about this, we have Mr. Ninad Deshpande. Ninad, a graduate in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from University of Pune, is currently working with B&R Industrial Automation as Head Marketing and Open Technology Specialist. He is also a member of the Smart Infrastructure Committee at the Bureau of Indian Standards, that is BIS, and is a member of the Speaker Bureau at the Industrial Internet Consortium, that is IIC. So welcome, Mr. Ninad.
Thank you, Subrajit, and thank you, Chandrasekhar ji, to set the tone for what I need to talk from the return of investment, because that exactly sets the base and platform for what I have to talk. Subrajit, you rightly said that we need India mein kitna deti hai is the most important question. And here I will actually try to put an analogy from an industrial IoT in a business perspective to sort of an investment which we try to do in our personal lives or personal spaces. So one of the examples I would give is of the fitness industry. So many people, normally we see that we are joining gyms or fitness things like running or yoga. And in good old times in 2019 or 2018, when we were able to do that, we used to pay money and go to the gyms, try to get ourselves into shape. But eventually, I always found that many people quit after some time. Normally, monsoon offers, you had a lot of rush in the gyms. Then New Year resolutions got a lot of people into the gyms. And within 1 month, there was no one. So that got me thinking that why does this happen? Ideally, one is they get demotivated. Yeah, I'm doing something, but there's no result coming out. One thing is that. Second thing is they want to get things done much quicker, much faster, without actually spending a lot of energy in doing that. That's one thing. Third thing is, of course, maybe they're stressed out. They don't have the time. They say, okay, fine, I just live with what I am and I do lead my life. So this is one part of the aspect of the personal fitness scenario. Now we imagine that we are making some investments, but we are not actually running or riding down that path in a judicious way. Another example which I will actually take in the new normal, which we have today, is we are at home, and most importantly, when we are living in a society, the society is not allowing our house help or the maids to come in the office or come in our house. So eventually, all the household activities apart from our daily office jobs have to be done by us. Now, in that case, I see many people rushing to the electronic devices showroom to buy dishwashers, etc., for making their life easier, robotic cleaners, which is the floor cleaners. Incidentally, I spoke to my sister a couple of weeks back, and she was telling me a dishwasher from a specific company is taking 2 months of waiting time. Now people want to have this luxury, and they want to have this in the house. Now why I'm taking this example here is, suppose we buy a dishwasher and it's set in our house. Now we will of course increase the energy consumption of our house. Now it is impossible for anyone to notice the consumption change in 1 month. It is actually over a period of 5 months or 6 months. Maybe we will find out what we have invested as a capital investment and what is the energy being consumed. Now, if I analyze this to our MSMEs or to the place where we are in our industry, if you try to invest anything on any small aspect, call it energy monitoring, it is impossible for you to get the results in one day. It is impossible to also get a result in 1 month. You have to have patience. So ROI from industrial IoT, definitely it's there. Definitely we are going to see the benefits. The only motivation is to keep patience and to keep going in the right direction. Secondly, these examples actually teach us one more thing, that as far as technology goes, investment is necessary. It's not going to happen free of cost, first of all. So a small investment, maybe 10,000, 5,000, whatever you call it, a sort of investment would be required. Second thing is you need a lot of commitment from all the stakeholders. So for ROI, a commitment from your management, from the managers, from the production in charge, from the operator has to be there. They have to be convinced that we are going on the digital transformation journey or the industrial IoT journey for a reason and for achieving some results. Last but not the least, we have people who would like to achieve this in a focused manner, in a committed manner. So we need all the stakeholders to be committed. Other important aspect is, as I said, for the second example, that we need to monitor, we need to analyze. So we need to analyze whatever we are investing, and we need to analyze the results which are coming out. So that's more important for you to see whether you're going in the right direction. And to the last point I will see is, whenever you are investing in an ROI, or you want to consider an ROI, or you're investing in a particular technology going towards industrial IoT or on your journey to industrial IoT, the first and foremost thing you have to do as a MSME is to identify the gaps which are actually evident in your current processes, and then you have to evaluate the technologies which are available. Do not just implement something because your competition is doing it, because your neighboring company is doing it. Don't do it. Or just because you're reading something in the paper or you're reading something in the magazine, don't do it. Identify your gaps, identify which technologies bridge these gaps, and then make the right investment. And then of course the other parts of vision, the commitment part come into play. In here we are now talking about two parts. The last point which I want to make here is, there are two aspects. One is you invest and you do a steady investment, and then invest in long-term goals, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. But then in this case, what happens? You are planning everything thoroughly, but then your results will not be evident 2 years before. It has to be coming after 2 years. There are high chances here that people might quit, the teams might change, and then there's a chance that the management loses its cool, and they start getting frustrated that they are not seeing results. So it's a good way of going in long-term investments, but of course these are the drawbacks, these are the cons. Whereas there are short-term goals, low-hanging fruits, which we call it. If you try to go towards low-hanging fruits, what happens is you can get results much quickly or much quicker than the long-term results. Maybe you see results in 2 months, 3 months, and then you are motivated. So my suggestion to all the MSMEs here who are listening to this session is that have a balanced mix between a long-term goal and a short-term goal, because then the long-term goal will give you results over a longer period, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But then the short-term goals in parallel will keep you motivated for this long-term goal. And then you have to chalk your milestones. So that's what I can say from the ROI from industrial IoT. There is no figure which I can give you. There is no timelines because it's a lot of technologies, a lot of timelines, a lot of dimensions to it. But I hope I could do justice to the ROI part of it.
Mr. Ravi Kumar is the managing director of Krisham Automation Private Limited, a Bangalore-based ISO 9001-2015 company involved in developing SPM's automated assembly and test equipment. The company has now embarked on its own software for manufacturing intelligence in the shop floor with AI algorithm backing up the data analytics. He will talk to us about what should be the roadmap for SMEs and MSMEs to implement IIoT. Welcome, Mr. Ravi Kumar.
I come from a different field of automated assembly lines and testing systems, etc. And we have been using Industry 4.0 in the sense of connected machines and everything right from 2009. Like Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharti said, they've been implementing it for a long time. So we understand the need for IIoT so much in the current scenario. It's not funny anymore. There is no running away from IIoT. And it is a question of either you survive or you don't survive. This is the same thing that happened in a conference. It's called Integrate in Detroit last year. And everybody was saying the same thing. It's a question of survival. It's not a question of ROI anymore. I mean, if you keep looking at ROI, maybe you'll never get started and you'll miss the boat. India has been in the same situation many a times, and we don't want to miss this boat at this point of time. Why I'm saying this is there's a lot of information available on the shop floor. It's humanly impossible to collate and analyze all this data. We need some digitization of all this data and make sense out of it through analytics. Analytics could be done manually by using an expert or by the software itself. You teach it, the machine learning algorithms will learn from the data available, etc. The main problem that we have in India with the MSMEs, it's not the problem, it is a constraint that the MSME faces, lack of capital, and we don't know what benefits it will give, and we are always worried about whether we're going to get a return on that. I would say that leave that aside. It's time to enhance your OEE, which means both the productivity as well as the quality. And that is where it will take you a long way. For example, first pass yield is a parameter that is only coming into highlight nowadays. It's a very important factor. First pass yield is to be monitored, and that should be pushed to the maximum. It's something like if you have a 2% or a 5% rejection in the first pass yield, you will end up with a reduction in productivity of almost 10%, because you have to do rework, you have to process them again through the same machine, and you're losing productivity because of that. So when you look at these aspects, IIoT will help a lot, even though you don't see the apparent benefits in the beginning. So my caution to MSMEs is, please do not look at ROI at the first stage. Get on with this, collecting this data. And what data should you collect? You know your pain areas. If you are having a rejection at a certain point of a high level and you really don't know what it is, employ your sensors, etc., and data collection at that point. How do you do it? Get a consultant. If you are not aware of it, get a consultant who can tell you that these are the pain areas, and get the software people after that. Don't get the software people in the beginning. It is important that you have a domain expert who tells you what is your pain area, and this is the area to work on, and implement only that portion and gain the confidence of IIoT. And later on, you can implement it in multiple places. IIoT can go a very long way in improving your quality and productivity. It's not just about machine utilization. It is also about improving your quality and delivery. in a fantastic way. It can also tell you that this particular material from this particular vendor is always a problem. There is something wrong with the material properties. You can tell the vendor that this is what I'm getting, and it's a chain of improvement that will happen along the entire line of MSMEs all over the place. It is important to embark on this as fast as possible. So get your domain expert, analyze your pain areas, and implement only that area at first to get your results. Like Ninad said, low-hanging fruit. Even the low-hanging fruit, somebody should identify that this is the low-hanging fruit, or this is the major pain area. If I solve this, I get a lot of benefits. So this is how it has to be implemented. Manual operations, then the next step is, there are a lot of manual operations. We still think that India is a labor intensive and labor cost is very low, etc. It's not true. Sometimes the labor cost, the low labor cost, translates into high product costs because of the rejections, because of the wrong processes that they follow or the process that they do not follow. It is extremely important to utilize this low-cost labor in a certain way where they are not allowed to make any mistakes, which means that you need certain automation, not necessarily robotics, certain controls basically, which will help these low-cost labor to produce high-quality products consistently. So high product quality and consistency of it is extremely important. When you embark on this, you will again come into the realm of IIoT, collecting all the data in a coherent form and analyzing this data to get what you really can get as a benefit. So first thing, do not go in for ROI at the first step. If you go in for that, you will never get started. It is not easy to quantify the benefits of IIoT. It is something like traceability. Once upon a time, traceability was an aspect of a product which was considered a necessary overhead, unfortunately. But now, if you see, all our machines have traceability, and the kind of information that the traceability gives, it says that this product is failing because at that same product at the pressing station gave me a higher load. Why did it give a higher load? Where was this product sourced from? Is it from vendor A, B, or C? So much of information is coming out just because of traceability. It was thought of as an overhead, but now it has become a backbone. In one company where we implemented the traceability went down because of a server problem. And now everybody in the QC are saying, when will you get the server up? We need the data. And why do they need the data? Because they are being able to analyze so much from just the traceability data that they are able to improve their quality and productivity. So IIoT is something similar. On the face of it, you may feel that it's an overhead, but no, it is going to give you a lot of benefits which you cannot calculate upfront. And let India not miss this bus. MSME is the backbone, we all know. And we have to upgrade ourselves so that we can become world beaters. And we have the capabilities, we have the intelligence. We don't have the inclination, and that inclination has to happen. This is extremely important for a country like India. We are individually brilliant, collectively incompetent, and that has to change. So IIoT is one bus which the entire world is still thinking of embarking. Let us get into it and move on and be a manufacturing powerhouse for the world.
What I would say is it's never something which is exactly 100% right or something which is 100% wrong. It's not a digital way of doing it. Ideally, you have to look at it as an analog value, which moves from 0 to some value, either in the positive or in the negative. If you go in the negative, you learn from your experiences while doing something. If you go in the positive, you build on something which is what you have done in your past. But one thing which I would write as a person would say, as an individual opinion, that whenever I myself am doing some investment, I eventually will look at something what I'm going to get in returns of it. Let it be buying a car, buying a bike, Simple. If I'm playing cricket, if I buy a bat or a ball, I have to see how many days will it last. If it's going to break or if the ball is going to burst in one day, I will not buy it. I'll rather spend 10 rupees extra and get a better ball. Simple as it. So as an individual, whether you are sitting in India, whether you are sitting in Bangladesh or you are sitting in Europe or US, first of all, the most important thing is your efficiency, your processes, and what you really want to achieve at the end, and what are you going to get after doing in some investments. Even if I'm going to invest 1 rupee, I'm going to find something to get out of it. And especially when business owners, for example, right now we are talking about COVID, the pandemic, etc. Investing even 100 rupees for a business owner becomes challenging, because he knows he has to sustain with the salaries, he has to sustain with all the peripherals. So ROI cannot be a aspect which we cannot look at. It is, even if we say we don't want to look at it, at the back of the mind, at the end when we go to sleep in the night, we are like, yeah, invest to kiya aaj, but what did I get? So that's more important.
Puneet Ketal, he's asking that, no, I do agree with you that capital, ROI, etc. Come much later, and once it is convincible there, can be to find resources, but the culture of taking data needs the inclination towards improvement. The question was directed to Mr. Ravi, sir.
Yeah, basically ROI and everything. Why I'm saying yes, like Ninad said, everybody looks at ROI. When we invest in something, we are talking about kitna deti hai. I agree with that. But at the same time, in IoT, it is not easy to calculate ROI. It's extremely difficult. It is, I mean, you can go on and on for days and months. You will never come out with a proper answer, because the ramification of IIoT is so phenomenal that you will not be able to do it. It's a question of, do you want to get into that, or do you want to get on with the job? So it's a decision. I do agree that capital is a problem in MSMEs. But then if you have 100 rupees, do you want to put it on buying a new machine, or you want to invest it on a data acquisition, which will tell me that this particular machine is capable of offsetting the other new machine? So it's a question of where do you want to put that limited resources into? So I don't know whether I'm answered the question properly, but then you have 100 rupees, where do you want to put it in? Because we have noticed in some cases, assembly lines, they are duplicating the assembly lines for just a 10%, 15% increase in productivity. And what we realized was IIoT can actually crunch the cycle times in such a way that you say that, no, you don't need the entire assembly line. You need just this one aspect to be duplicated. So it can give you that kind of information. So it depends on how I won't say the constraints are there, but then you have to look at it from your own scenario about where you want to put this 100 rupees that you have.
The COVID-19 pandemic has hit almost every industries across the globe, and MSME segment has been among the most affected, mainly due to massive labor migration, production halt, and cash flow crunch during the lockdown. Now we would invite all the panelists for a panel discussion to talk about how IIoT can help MSMEs emerge stronger post-COVID.
How can IIoT help in the recovery post-COVID, and then deal with the new normal?
Right.
So there are a couple of things. I want to sort of refer back to what both Ninad said as well as Ravi said. There are two aspects when it comes to what really is the lifeblood of an SME or an MSME. One is, I want to contextualize it with a real life example. Let's say somebody has bought a machine worth, say, about 15 lakhs of rupees. They expect to make a machine hour rate of, say, 200 rupees per hour. That means in 3-shift operation, they're looking at producing 1.2 lakhs worth of parts with that. If they're able to get even a 10% increase in their throughput, that is 12,000 rupees extra that they have on a monthly basis. That's one perspective. So that means even if they were to invest, say, on that machine, another 36,000 rupees worth of IIoT, they are guaranteed to get it back in 3 months' time. And then the next 9 months is all extra profit. The second perspective is, let's say there is an MSME who has 10 machines. And now, let's say the business has come back up and they're at capacity. if they're able to get that additional 10% productivity on all of those machines, they have manufactured one machine worth 15 lakhs in their own shop floor without having to pay for that machine. So this is the perspective in which we believe and we have seen MSMEs will be able to benefit by ensuring that they have the right data at the right time and the right alerts and escalation mechanism using IIoT to ensure what has to happen at that time actually happens. A lot of this data, if it is done on a, let's say, a daily report or even a weekly report or whatever it is, they would be unable to capture the essence of the actions that is required to be executed on the shop floor. So what we always say is real time is very critical. And to enable real time, it's got to be so painless to them, especially for an MSME owner. For him, all he's concerned about is making parts, boxing them, shipping them, getting paid so that he can get his 7-8% margin and pay his salaries. So IIoT can drive real-time decisions using real-time alerts and escalations. And a lot of this would be of the low-hanging fruit variety. And in our own database across 15,000 installations, we have cataloged the types of issues. What was really revealing to us is while people talk about machine capability and feed and speed and RPM and tooling and all that, it sort of follows the 80-20 rule. 80% of the issues are low-hanging in nature, but are also transient in nature. That means what happened today in, say, first shift may not occur in the third shift, or it may not occur tomorrow. So it's very important for companies to be aware of that when it occurs, so that in the next half an hour, they could potentially correct that, so that the rest 7 or 8 hours of the shift, they have good production. So the critical aspect of IoT is to enable real-time data to flow into the decision cycle and have those decisions get executed, which typically would be of the low-hanging fruit. Now that is 80% of the issues. In the other 20%, what we have seen, this is empirical data analysis. 15% may be high-tech in nature. This is the kind of things that Ravi is talking about, harmonizing the tuck times, the blockage, salvage in an assembly, or maybe tooling and those kind of issues. Maybe a few percentages true labor issues, but it is the 80% low-hanging that MSME specifically will need to focus on in order to get the bang for the buck. And the ROI in our experience has been just a few months. So if you look at it for the whole year, it is few 100%. That's a number I'd like to share with everybody, which neither gold nor land nor real estate, nothing is going to give. So MSMEs, you can manufacture whichever precious metal or diamond that you want to do on your own shop floor just with IIoT.
And we have Mr. Yogin Chaniara. We were missing him for this because we could not connect at the beginning due to some technical issues. Thank you, Mr. Yogin Chaniara, for joining us.
Thank you.
Mr. Chaniara is the president of Machine Tools Manufacturer Association, that is MTMA Rajkot. Rajkot is identified as Machine Tools Cluster in India by Ministry of SSI and UNIDO, and adopted by UNIDO for Cluster Development Program for the Machine Tools industries. Today, with over 250 members, MTMA is actively working for the technology upgradation program for its members. So we got Mr. Yogin in the middle of the discussion. So I would want to hear from you that how exactly Yoginji you are doing and how MTMA is empowering your associations. Could you let us know more about this?
Thank you and good morning to everybody. मैं योगिन छनियारा, प्रेसिडेंट मशीन टूल्स मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एसोसिएशन राजकोट। अभी हमारे यहाँ 280 मेंबर्स हैं जो मशीन बिल्डर्स हैं, और ये मशीन टूल्स एसोसिएशन में सिर्फ मशीन बिल्डर्स ही हम उसको एसोसिएट करते हैं जो अपने ब्रांड से कोई एक पूरा मशीन जो बनाता है। सब इंजीनियरिंग गुड्स को हम एसोसिएट नहीं करते हैं। तो ये पूरा एक मशीन जो पूरा कंप्लीट मशीन बनाता है उसका एक एसोसिएशन है, जिसमें आपने नाम सुना होगा ज्योति पराक्रम सिंह है राजकोट के। तो ऐसे पूरे जो सीएनसी मशीन, लेथ मशीन, शेपिंग मशीन, प्लानिंग मशीन, ड्रिलिंग मशीन एक्सेट्रा वर्कशॉप मशीनरी का एक पूरा हमारा राजकोट का एसोसिएशन है। बेसिकली मोस्ट ऑफ एमएसएमई मेंबर्स ज्यादा है इधर, और इंजीनियरिंग में तो आप पहचान, आप सबको पता ही है कि राजकोट द बेस्ट है। आज मशीन टूल्स में बेंगलोर के दूसरा नंबर आता है हमारा राजकोट में मशीन टूल्स इंडस्ट्रीज का। बेसिकली हम अपना थोड़ा बहुत आपको सबको वाकिफ करें कि इधर जो भी मशीन बनती है वो एमएसएमई सेक्टर में जो छोटे लोग हैं, जो छोटे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स है, उसको हम अपग्रेड करते हैं इधर, और उसको हम थोड़ा बड़ा बनाने की भी कोशिश एमटीएमए के हिसाब से करते हैं। उसके लिए राजकोट मशीन टूल शो करके हम बहुत बड़ा इंडस्ट्रियल एग्जीबिशन, पूरे 6 एग्जीबिशन हमने कंप्लीट कर दिया है। वो एक इंटरनेशनल लेवल का एग्जीबिशन अब हो गया है राजकोट का। तो उससे राजकोट के मशीन टूल्स इंडस्ट्रीज को बहुत बड़ा बेनिफिट होता है। और साथ साथ में हम एसोसिएशन मेंबर्स के लिए सेमिनार्स, टेक्निकली सेमिनार्स टीयूवी के साथ मिलके भी हम करते हैं। यूनिडो का क्लस्टर भी हमारा बहुत बड़ा चलता है इधर, और सभी जगह हम इंटरनेशनल एग्जीबिशंस में पार्टिसिपेट भी करवाते हैं, सबको डेलीगेट भी लेके जाते हैं। वैसे सब एसोसिएशन के मेंबर्स को सभी तरह से हम हेल्पफुल होने की कोशिश करते हैं। डिजिटलाइजेशन भी हम अभी थोड़ा बहुत सबको हम उसको प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं कि भाई थोड़ा बहुत, क्योंकि क्या है आप सबको पता है कि सौराष्ट्र रीजन है पूरा ये, तो थोड़ा हमारे यहाँ कोरस्पोंडेंस है, इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग है, वो सब थोड़ा कम है इधर। कैपेबिलिटी ज्यादा है मशीन टूल्स बनाने की सब मेंबर्स की, और वैसे वो सब बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से मशीन बनाते हैं, लेकिन उसको प्रेजेंटेशन करने की जो स्किल्स थी वो हम अभी इधर सबको डेवलपिंग लास्ट 3 साल से करवाए, जिसका हमको बहुत एमएसएमई को बहुत बड़ा बेनिफिट होता है इधर। जैसे आप समझते हो कि बेंगलोर के जो प्रोफेशनल्स है वो थोड़े एडवांस रहते हैं सौराष्ट्र रीजन के हमारे मशीन टूल्स बिल्डर्स के। वो जो डिफरेंस है वो अभी हम थोड़ा पुशअप करने के लिए हम मेहनत ज्यादा कर रहे हैं। जो है वो तो है ही, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है स्वीकार करने में भी। तो वो जो डिफरेंस है वो मैकेनिकल सेक्टर में हमारा कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है, उसमें तो हम बेस्ट है ही, लेकिन प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स जो हमारी है इधर, वो हम थोड़ा बहुत इधर के एमएसएमई को सपोर्ट करने के लिए हम लोग थोड़ी बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत करते हैं। टेंडरिंग में जो हम थोड़ा पीछे हैं तो उसमें भी हम मेहनत करने में थोड़ा ज्यादा पुशअप करते हैं। तो ये सब राजकोट इंडस्ट्रीज है और इसी तरह से हमारा चलता है, और बहुत बड़ा नाम है, बहुत अच्छी मशीन हम इधर के मशीन टूल्स बिल्डर्स अच्छी मशीन बनाते हैं।
Yes, definitely. The kind of technology which we see, which is available even in the Saurashtra region, which Yoginji has said, technologically they are doing the best job, because we have a lot of customers who are from the Gujarat region, and definitely they are selling their machines across the world. So from the technology side, there is nothing which I can even counter to these kind of things. It's actually a very great work which Yogin sir is doing in this region to help the MSME sector to boom and eventually help them move ahead in this technology sector or technology journey. That's something which I would add. Apart from that, of course, as Yoginji rightly said, there's a lot of effort, more effort which he puts in. But then here he could also build some awareness from the technology side, which is the next generation technologies, which we are here, we are assembled here and we are talking about. So that's something which he could contribute further to these kind of machine builders, so that they become more globally competitive, they optimize their processes rather than just adding new technologies, and become much more efficient and productive.
Rajkot is doing a fantastic job on machine tools, etc. It's just that, like Yoginji pointed out, ये presentation करने में थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही है, and which is ये problem आपका ही नहीं है, पूरा इंडिया का है. We are not good at presenting ourselves, whether our artifacts or temples or monuments, कुछ भी हम लोग presentation में थोड़ा पीछे रह गए. That is true. So we have to enhance this. And Rajkot machine tools, like if Ninad and DNR can help, this IoT part of it can be an add-on onto the machine, and that can go as a package along with the machine, and that is going to enhance the product on its own. And then suddenly the world will also wake up and look at it as a product worth purchasing. That internally BNR and can help the Rajkot machine tools enhance the product by just adding this small module of IoT, which can give much more enhanced data about the machine, about its performance, about its failure modes, etc. And the machine becomes more intelligent. So we are actually making a good machine more intelligent. And I think that's the way to go to enhance the entire image of the Rajkot industry. And it's a good potential. It's a huge potential.
While we continuously talk about Indian MSMEs not adopting IoT solution, I think it is partly untrue as well, because if you hear the stats that Mr. Chandrasekhar gave, or all of us are now working with them, we realize that the adoption has started, right? So the adoption has started, the adoption is happening. Now, how the multiplication will happen from early adoption to a growth phase is the point in consideration, right? Whether whatever machine tools that we are manufacturing today should have IoT modules inbuilt when we deploy them, or to the retrofit machines that are already have installed base, how do we bring them into IoT platform is something which I think all kinds of technologies are available. But the need and recognition for the same is well accepted. Is why also I think we all are gathered here to discuss this, and all of the SMEs understood how to use it. Whether it's an ROI or a long-term view, I think one of the things which are replaced a lot of traditional businesses, IoT is going to replace a lot of manufacturing processes the way it is happening today, right? So it is not about adaptation, it is about just being safeguarding yourself for the future. On point on COVID, I think it's a great opportunity which was in a way we were slow in adoption. COVID might accelerate that adoption in multiple ways, right? One, I believe, because of how the social distancing norms are being created, real-time monitoring may become a very critical, necessary thing rather than good to have. Second point, I think somewhere where there is a greater value post COVID-19, or is the scenario of training and knowledge dissemination that happens between employees and between different SMEs. I think that is going to get accelerated, and there is going to be a lot of data mining that would be required from here on for MSMEs to chart out a path forward. Third and lastly, I think how in the COVID scenario and the post-COVID world, one of the things which will be imminent is increasing global competitiveness, right? Because of how this pent-up demand, and there will be slow increase in consumption or demand. There will be a lot of competitiveness globally for products, and that is where differentiating with oneself with IoT and transparency to your suppliers, to your vendors, to your customers is going to gain a lot more prominence, which earlier was not as prominent, right? And I think that is also going to be a distinguishing factor for a lot of customers when they look at managing their vendors and managing that ecosystem over a period of time. Because let's agree that while this wave has started, it has started from both ends, right? It has started from an industrial large enterprise as well as from an MSME end, and both of it has to connect somewhere in order for the ecosystem to evolve, right? I mean, IoT cannot function only within the boundaries of the organization. For machine utilization, yes, but the moment we go beyond machine utilization and talk about traceability, we talk about data exchange between suppliers, vendors, and the ecosystem or network that we are part of, then that network data is far more valuable than just the organization data, right? And I believe COVID is just going to accelerate that over a period of time. Yeah.
If we as manufacturers are to not just survive, but eventually grow and thrive, we need to make sure that we are also able to potentially export what we build. Whether we export or not is a separate issue, but we need to make sure that our products are exportable. That means they need to be at a quality, a competitiveness, and a future proofing that is expected in world markets. Otherwise, it's just a matter of time with all the free trade agreements now. It's just that our domestic market will become ripe for anybody to come in and cannibalize us. So it's not even a nice thing to have in the years to come. I think it will become a hygiene factor.
So the main important part is for these kind of technologies, it's not required that we need to be a big multi-million-dollar MNC. We can even start small in a smallest of factories, which is possible. So in Pune, there is a small company which is supplying goods to automotive industry. It's kind of a plastics manufacturing supplier to the chassis, etc. and he has implemented some of these technologies in his existing plants. So it's basically injection molding machines. He has around 20 machines. So you can imagine it's not a big plant, it's a really small plant, a small shed. But then before implementing any of these technologies, he basically he looked at the efficiency of his plant, and it was somewhere around 37 to 40%. And he was okay with it. He says, okay, fine. Having some raw materials which is coming in, and I'm some parts going out, and I'm calculating my profitability and productivity in that way. But then after implementing some technologies which are possible in a short amount of time, maybe it took him 1 month to implement everything which he wanted, and then he was able to see the efficiency rise to 67%. So that's how change of efficiency was able to achieve. So now means what happened is the same amount of raw material was able to produce more number of goods. He is becoming more profitable. There were drawbacks. The operators were thinking that if you add automation in these kind of solutions, then their efficiency comes into picture. But no, there was an awareness which went on in the shop floor. We told them that, okay, this is not to cut off your jobs, but to get more profitability so that you earn more money. So this was a kind of awareness program which we did, and eventually today, in 1 year's time, I think he has integrated his security camera system, his business management system, or the building management system, the existing shop floor system on the same system. So that's how beneficial he was. So this was the actual example. Nothing changes post-COVID. Of course, all these technologies still can be implemented in 1 month and taken forward. But one recommendation which I would say to any MSME who is maybe listening, who wants to go ahead, today it's actually, if you have started on your journey, it's a very good opportunity to go to the drawing board, see what you have done till now, see whether you are on the right track, and retrospect on those topics. See whether you want to have some course correction with a partner, with a business partner, etc., and then move forward in the right direction. As also Ravi Kumar ji said that we need to have a consultant or some expert who can give us these kind of solutions. Think about it, and then of course go to the drawing board. That's important. If you have not started a journey, this actually brings you to the drawing board for a different perspective. That okay, now I want to see what is possible, what can be done, and how I can take this forward. Again, business partner will be definitely important here also.
Actually, the IIoT is de-skilling the manpower. So it's a different aspect. Now, when we want to pick engineers, when we go to IITs, we don't get engineers. We get good engineers from second and third run colleges. Good engineers in the sense they are passionate, we need to teach them and we need to grow them. This is one more reason why we feel that IIoT is extremely important. You're actually de-skilling the operators. So you can use anybody, even a 10th class fail can actually perform well on a machine or on a particular process, because the process, the IIoT will not allow him to make mistakes. And this is a problem that we are facing in many places. It's not just in India, it's also in the US. And my partners in Germany are also saying that, yeah, the kind of engineers that we want for the manufacturing industry, we don't have. And that is one of the reasons why IIoT is also picking up a lot. Information gathering. Once upon a time, we used to note down a lot of data from the machine. Likh ke le lete the, then we used to analyze and all that. Lekin itna, nobody is there who is so patient, who is so passionate about these things. That is one more reason why IIoT has become very important. It predicts failures, it does a lot of analysis, we are automating it. So skilling, if you are saying, there is a certain skill that is required, and IIoT is actually augmenting that skill without actually reskilling the people and getting you a product which is worthy of export. That is what IIoT is actually doing. So it's actually replacing manpower to a certain extent. It will not replace completely. It will actually enhance their capabilities. That's what I can say.
Again, Mr. Puneet Tayal only asking a question. The main issue is how MSME leader comes to know what to target, where to target, and what to do to improve until and unless they are exposed on the possibilities and opportunities. And what can be done by equipment or system manufacturers or consulting firms? Chandrasekhar ji would like to answer this question.
That's actually a great question, because that is really the stumbling block for somebody to dive into IIoT, because typically a lot of the MSMEs have some prior bad experience with quote unquote software companies or technology companies. And it's almost like I don't want to be going close to a software vendor. So, to that question, one of the ways that an MSME owner should enable themselves is to first of all get familiar with what IIoT really means, because to a lot of people we have seen, IIoT is like the story of the elephant. Somebody says, "I touch the tail and I feel it is like a rope," and it's like that. So, to get a comprehensive view of IIoT, one of the platforms that I would potentially suggest is CII, the Confederation of Indian Industry, has a smart manufacturing committee. And incidentally, I'm also part of that. And we have a website called, I think it's CIIsmartmanufacturing.in or something like that. I may be wrong about the website, but please look it up. It has a wealth of information about how to get started, what it really means, and who the players are. So that would be a first resource. The second would be in your area. Chances are that somebody might already be doing that, somebody that you trust, or is somebody like you. So one of the best ways to familiarize yourself is to go to that installation and see for yourself what they've really been able to do. And forget about whether they've been able to do it continuously, but at least have they had flashes of ROI coming from that. And you're most welcome to reach out to ACE Micromatic Group. We have 52 locations in India and outside India as well. So we'll be happy to educate and share with you the practices that MSMEs have followed. And if that's of use to you, you're most welcome to take it further with us.
It was a wonderful session, and I'm really delighted to know what the IoT is. Myself, background, I'm basically looking after the technical services for the Indian Oil Corporation, and we have huge refineries where we are doing a lot of things about IoTs. So in this background, I want to ask the question, because we're also dealing with the industries, we're also selling lubricants and fuels. And I was talking typically about I was really touched by the presentation of the talk given by Mr. Yogi Chaniara, who is looking after the Rajkot tool industry or the manufacturing industry. And he has a very genuine problem. And second thing is that the gentleman was talking about the ROI. When you go for IoTs, you have to for a time being ignore about the ROI. And the second person told us we can't do that, because even though we are claiming that, but in the back of the mind, we are still thinking about the ROI. So I do agree with that gentleman. So what we can do is that if the persons who are the specialists in this industry, especially with the IoTs, they have to tailor make a financial solution for them. For example, suppose they say IoT is something about a long-term based. For example, for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, they can chart out a plan like the efficiency or the benefits which can be accrued from IoTs within a span of 4 years or 5 years. They have to find what the things, they have to really get those parameters, those indicators which will lead to either getting the benefits or the margins or increasing the production capacities. So basically, I see that it's a challenge for all those persons who are trying to market IoTs. They are not able to tailor make the financial benefits for those small companies or MSMEs. This is my gentle submission, and anybody can give a feedback or his views about that.
Yeah. Basically, the reason why I am saying that do not look at ROI, because I am a hardcore engineer. I'm not much into finance, but when we get into financial aspects of it, it's a long drawn process, and it goes on and on and on. It is not easy to quantify these benefits. Like I gave the example of traceability. Now, for example, in Indian oil, like you blend certain oil or some certain diesel or whatever. Now, imagine what IoT can do. If you can do a real-time analysis of what's happening in the mixture and take corrective action to that, you can save gallons of wrong fuel that is going to come. Because I have some friends in the US with Exxon and all these people. They're all getting into it. Now, what is the cost of implementation of it versus the loss that you may have with this kind of a thing? It is not easy to calculate. traceability. Why did people get into traceability? Way back in 2009 itself, we did a project for one company and where we implemented the traceability. I asked them, why are you implementing the traceability? They said it's an insurance. If there is an accident and something happens to the person, when the insurance claim comes, when they trace to this particular safety related element, if they can go back and say that, no, this was produced correct, all its parameters was correct, and then they come out of the claim. Otherwise, it can go as bad as Takada, the company, the seat bag, airbag company, which went bankrupt because of claims. So these things, so how can you cost that ROI? It is not possible. It's not possible to cost that ROI for that particular aspect. But traceability gained acceptance, and now we are seeing that traceability, the data that is collected by traceability, is giving us much more insights into the process, and we are able to improve the process. So Ninad rightly said that ROI is important, and Srivastav ji is also saying the same thing. We all look at ROI. I mean, it's not just India is saying kitna deti hai. Everywhere else also everybody looks at it. It's just that they don't apply it to space shuttles and all that. We probably, even we are not applying. We have evolved, so we're better off. But then ROI is a hindrance. Definitely, it is actually a roadblock, I would say, for IoT. I'm not promoting IoT just for the heck of it, because I have seen the benefits of it in the way we build our machines. It helps us also as machine builders. When we analyze, we build in some data capturing in the background, and when we analyze the data, we immediately know where the problem is. It saves us tremendous amount of manpower who have to travel maybe to Mexico, maybe to US to solve the problem, which I can do from here, because I have built in that IoT capability. That's at some cost. I did add some cost to the machine. I cannot, I mean, if I were a finance guy, if there was a CFO in our company, he would definitely have struck it off. And we would have invested in sending a person from here to Mexico or US. And what is that cost? And cost of credibility in front of a customer. These are costs which we cannot evaluate in terms of ROI. That's what I meant. And this is the same problem that is happening in the US also. Many people are stuck because of ROI, and they are finding that some of their competitors who have implemented the ROI are going leaps and bounds, and sometimes they are taking away their share of the market also, those who haven't implemented the ROI. So what is the cost there? The cost is between survival and death. Growth is another aspect. If you were to implement IoT and get on with it, you can reap more benefits. You can explore more markets.
चैलेंजेस टेक्नोलॉजी में तो कुछ दिक्कत नहीं आ रही इधर, कि टेक्नोलॉजी में तो सब लोग इधर राजकोट में माहिर ही है। हमको जो भी दिक्कत आ रही है वो है थोड़ा इधर राजकोट में जो हमारी लोकेलिटी है, या आप सोचे तो हमारे यहाँ के जो पर्सन्स है या मशीन टूल्स इंडस्ट्रीज के मालिक हैं, उसके वर्कर्स है या स्टाफ है, उसका हमारा जो भी थोड़ा बहुत इधर का जो हमारा एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड है उसका थोड़ा दिक्कत आ रहा है इधर सौराष्ट्र रीजन का जो भी है वो ये हमको फेस ज्यादा करना पड़ता है ये सब टेक्नोलॉजिकल में, क्योंकि जो भी इंजीनियरिंग सेक्टर्स हैं उसमें से जो इंजीनियर्स इधर भी आते हैं इधर निकल के, वो भी थोड़ा बहुत कम जो मैन पावर है वो भी कम एजुकेट होता है, उससे ज्यादा तो जो लोग फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं उसको ज्यादा आता है। ये जो हमारा डिफरेंस है वो हम कैचअप नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, और इसी तरह से हम इधर की इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस है, ITIs है, उसको भी हम लोग बोलते हैं कि भाई आप लोग जो भी स्किल वर्कर्स है उसको एजुकेट करो, क्योंकि उसको भी हमको एजुकेट करना पड़ता है इधर। तो लेबर का जो ये प्रॉब्लम है वो हमारा थोड़ा दिक्कत आ रही है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में। हमने वैसे हम सब इम्प्लीमेंट करते ही है, FIS है, लीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, ये सब तो हम करवा रहे हैं, ISO है वो सब तो करते हैं, लेकिन ये जो हमको डिफरेंस रहता है वो बहुत डिफरेंट रहता है इधर, तो ये दिक्कत ज्यादा आती है। टेक्नोलॉजिकल सेक्टर में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आती हमको।
It's a fair point, and it's not just I think in Rajkot when we interact across other clusters as well, along with Unity or Department of Heavy Industries. They also have Samarth Udyog as a program. Similarly, FICCI, CII, all of the bodies have different programs of cluster development. I think this is a very common challenge in certain parts of the country, maybe more pronounced in few regions than the other. But this availability of right talent to manage some of these things, especially from a technological awareness, implementation perspective, I think one of the things is to have right tie-ups and have regular training programs. And I must commend, I think Mr. Chandrasekhar is also here. IMTMA is doing a great job in Bangalore, in and around. And I think similar programs, and now with digital technologies coming in, such programs making such programs accessible to ITIs, to the MTAs that are getting created in Rajkot is one of the basic things I think can happen. और योगिन जी, एक बात और मुझे लगता है कि कभी-कभी हम इन टेक्नोलॉजी को जिस तरीके से समझते हैं, जिन शब्दों में समझते हैं, वो शायद उतना ज़्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं है, उतना मुश्किल नहीं है जितना कि हमें लगता है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल जितने भी लोग हैं जो आज काम करते हैं, वो मोबाइल यूज करते हैं, स्मार्टफोन यूज करते हैं, उनको ऐप पता है, उनको पता है ऐप को कैसे कॉन्फ़िगर करना है, और उनको सोशल मीडिया पता है, उनको पता है कि इन डिजिटल मीडियम से कैसे इंटरेक्ट करना है। तो आई थिंक जो नई जनरेशन आ रही है, जो ITI में है आज, they are already adept in using digital technology, right? Now can I make that transition happen कि वो लोग जो टेक्नोलॉजी अपनी लाइफ में यूज कर रहे हैं, पर्सनल लाइफ में, क्या वो अपनी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में यूज कर पा रहे हैं? आज वो ट्रांजिशन इसलिए नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि जो टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में उनको मिल रही है, उनके यूजर इंटरफेस, उनकी इंट्यूटिवनेस, उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग की हाउ टू रीड द डेटा, कैसे उसको पढ़ें, कैसे समझें, कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करें, वो जो स्किल गैप है, वो जो शायद प्रोडक्ट लेवल पे भी है और कहीं ना कहीं ट्रेनिंग लेवल पे भी है, दोनों लेवल पे ही है। तो प्रोडक्ट्स को भी मैच्योर होना पड़ेगा व्हेन इट कम्स टू से मेकिंग इट मोर इंट्यूटिव फॉर एनीवन टू अंडरस्टैंड। But I think one of the things is कि as human beings we are very good in adaptation, and we have seen in our experience of working with some of these clusters also is that they find it much easier, especially folks in ITI and otherwise who are just beginning their career, operators, supervisors, in using digital technology as compared to say 2 or 3 generations or 2 or 3 decades professionals who have been in manufacturing. तो इस ट्रांजिशन को अगर डिजिटल प्रोग्राम की तरह देखा जाए और कंफ्यूज ना करके, बहुत सारे टर्म्स कभी हमें बहुत सारा कंफ्यूज भी करते हैं, हम IIoT सुनते हैं, IoT सुनते हैं, डिजिटल सुनते हैं, अल्टीमेटली जो आप इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं वो एक इंटरफेस से होता है ना। चाहे वो आप फेसबुक पे जब पढ़ते हैं, नोटिफिकेशन मिलती है आपको कि किसी ने किसी रेस्टोरेंट में खाना खाया, सिमिलरली आपको अगर नोटिफिकेशन मिले कि किसी मशीन में ये प्रॉब्लम हुआ, देन आपको पता है कि आपको कैसे एक्ट करना है दोनों केस में, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट ईज इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और दूसरा, टू फोकस ऑन द ओवरऑल डिजिटल स्किल, आई थिंक that is going to be the bridge between the challenge that possibly he is facing and the world that we are going to create for future.
And I hope that associations like IMTMA, MTMA, together with NSDC, can play a huge role in creating awareness of this particular aspect, especially clusters like Rajkot. Delegates, we hope you have enjoyed it. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank you. We would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharti, Mr. Yogin Chanaria, Mr. Ravi Kumar Vitadepalli, Mr. Gajendra Mohan Jha, and Mr. Ninad Deshpande. Thanks to all the delegates and viewers. So that's the end of today's session. I request you to stay tuned for more such sessions. Thank you and goodbye. Jai Hind.